You don't have a discipline problem, you have a clarity problem. You have a project, a task, a report, something you need to accomplish, and you don't feel like doing it. There's some internal resistance for whatever reason. Maybe you're even procrastinating, maybe you even feel dread, like, I don't feel like doing this. And so what do? You force yourself through the motions. You will it into existence. Grit. There's even books about grit being a virtue these days, right? And the problem with this is the exact path to anxiety, self-doubt, burnout. If you do this long enough, you will burn out. You've probably had the experience where you're backing out of a parking spot and your emergency brake is on and the car just feels slow. There feels to be drag, something's wrong, maybe even the beeping, the alarm in your car is going off. And as soon as you realize this, you release the emergency brakes and the drag is free and everything's smooth and easy again, right? But imagine for a second you don't release the emergency brake. You continue backing out of the parking lot. You drive down the road. The car feels heavy, slow. The beeping is still going off. You get onto the on-ramp for the highway and you're driving on the highway 50, 60, 70 miles an hour and the car just feels like it's about to explode. Now you smell burning, right? Because your brake pads are on fire and everything is just going crazy. The beeping just keeps going off. The car is slow. And this is exactly what it's like when you ignore the internal systems of your mind that are alerting you to a task or a project or something that you're avoiding that you don't want to do. When you have a task or a goal or something you need to do, and your internal systems are alerting you that the emergency brake is on, but you ignore it, you will forward, you force yourself, you use grit to go through the motions and accomplish what you need to do, you're effectively driving with the emergency brake on in your car. And just like the emergency brakes in your car, this leads to burnout. Now you might be thinking, well, this is how I've gotten everything done in my career. I've had these periods where I've had to force through, endless nights for days, weeks on end, and then I relax on the weekends, take a vacation, and these cycles of grit and hard work followed by relaxation. This is just how I've done things. So how can I do it any other way? I don't know any other way. The answer is you need to get clear on your exact values that you are accomplishing by pursuing this task. Why is this task in your own self-interest? What makes this task valuable to you? And there's some very simple frameworks. One is actually developed by NASA. You might have heard of it. It's called Go, No Go. And I want to dive into this framework in a second. I have a whiteboard I'll share with you. But this process will help you get very clear on exactly why you're pursuing this task in a positive way. And when you start to sort out the motivations, your internal motivations for why you're doing a task or why you're pursuing a goal or why you're working with certain people, you get clear on your values, everything changes. It becomes not a process of forcing yourself to do it, but you actually enjoy it. There's an internal motivation to do the project. You no longer procrastinate. You no longer feel confused about what the next step is. You actually like taking the next step and you're excited about how to move forward. This might sound crazy because you haven't experienced it yet, but let's go through this go, no go framework. You'll see how it works. I highly recommend trying it out. It's very simple, it takes a few minutes, and you'll see internally how powerful this is, how this changes your internal motivation to actually accomplish your goals. So here you can see we have the go, no go framework. At the top, you put the task that you feel you have to do. You have no option. Maybe your boss gave you a task. I need the report on my desk by Monday. CEO says, hey, we need this report for the board. Whatever it is, you don't have an option to do this task. And one of the things you'll see is you actually do have an option, and that's really important to discover in this framework. Is part of the reason why you feel like you have to force yourself to do this task is there's this feeling or this thought like I don't have a choice, I have to do this. And so let's go through the framework. So At the top, you have I have to do X, whatever the task is. Then on the left, let's say you proceed with doing the task. What are the negatives to you of doing the task? One of them might be that you're reinforcing the fact that you're following someone else's lead. You're doing something you don't want to do. You're adding value to something that you don't care about. You think it's a waste of your time. I mean, the list is going to be personal to you, but list the negatives of actually pursuing this task that you have to do. Then switch over to the right side where you have the negatives of not doing it. Negatives could be, if I don't do it, I'll get fired, or I'll get demoted, or I won't be eligible for a promotion, or I'll feel bad because I've given this, my team my word that I would do it, and here I am faltering. So I actually feel a lack of integrity. Again, the list is going to be personal to you, and put down what's important that you generally feel if you don't do the task. What would be negative? Then down to the bottom right, what are the positives if you don't do the task? Well, I'll have more time. I can focus on what I want to focus on. I will feel more integrity in a different way in that I'm actually listening to myself and pursuing my own values. This list can go on and on and on. So you put down the values that you accomplish by not doing the task that you quote unquote have to do. And finally, on the bottom left, you have the positives or the benefits of pursuing this task. Maybe you'll feel accomplished. Maybe you will be one step closer to a promotion. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to work more closely with your colleagues or with your board or your investors or the boss, your CEO. So there could be a whole host of values to be achieved there. Maybe you'll get better at writing. And this is something that you've had an interest in for a while. Maybe it's an opportunity to accomplish something that you used to enjoy, and you still do enjoy it. You just don't enjoy the fact that you're told to do it, and so you're missing the autonomy or kind of the freshness of it. Again, these are going to be values that are very specific to you, so write those down. And what happens when you go through this process and you get all your thoughts down on paper, I recommend doing this on paper, is you start to get a lay of the land of where your values are, what's important to you, what's at stake, and it starts to really come clear why you actually want to do the task. Sometimes you won't want to do the task, and maybe you shouldn't do the task. Maybe it's true that the benefits of not doing the task outweigh all the other quadrants. But what I've experienced, and more times than not, is the benefits of doing the task actually far outweigh all the other quadrants, and it becomes clear. And as you're filling this out, you start to feel this motivation to do the task. And the reason is because you're activating in your mind the values you'll get from doing this project. And that's where motivation comes from. When you know that you're going to get a benefit from doing this, you start to feel excited about doing the task. And so I highly recommend this simple framework. Again, go, no go, developed by NASA, further developed by other coaches. And this has been a game changer for me because it's so simple and it's helped me get on track in terms of clarifying why am I pursuing what I'm pursuing, and switching from, I just have to grit it out, I have to force myself, I have to will myself to do a task I don't really want to do, to, I actually do want to do this task. I get to do this task because of A, B, and C, which I wouldn't accomplish if I wasn't doing this task. This task is actually valuable to me. And so give it a try. Let me know in the comments below what task you tried on, as well as what values you discover you get to actually pursue and achieve when you do it. And let me know the effects on your motivation. How did this actually change how you felt? Do you feel like you needed discipline, or do you feel like this really clarified your values and you feel a different type of emotion?